Auto mechanics share 6 things you should never do to your car. Car rule number 6. Refusing to get your car checked out after going over a curb. If you accidentally hit a curb, make sure to take your car to a car shop in order to ask the mechanic to check the balance and alignment. If the wheels are out of balance as a result, then you will not have good control of your car. It is better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to put yourself and anybody else at risk by driving in a car that has a balance or alignment issue. At the end of the day, if you are responsible enough to own and drive a car, you should be responsible enough to get it checked out whenever you experience any issues which could put you or anybody else on the road in danger. Car rule number 5. Putting your car in park. Auto mechanics advise never to select park while you are driving. Do not try doing this. Even though your car's system will ignore this command for safety reasons, giving your car this command will eventually damage it. If this is done at an extremely slow speed, you shouldn't have much to worry about in terms of damage. But if you do it at high speeds, or if you do it quite often, you can cause potential damage to your car. So just avoid doing it at all costs. Car rule number 4. Never overfill your engine. Auto mechanics advise that you should be careful to never overfill your engine. The engine always comes with a dipstick, which has a full point indicated. Be sure to only fill it to that level, never over. Overfilling can cause failure, causing smoke to emit from your car. Overfilling the oil in your car can damage the internal parts of the engine and eventually lock it up. If you do overfill the oil in your car, you can drain the excess oil from your car's oil pan. Car rule number 3. Don't let your tank get to empty. Another car tip that auto mechanics advise is not to wait until your fuel tank is empty before refilling it. Even the cleanest petrol has small particles in it, and gravity will keep it at the bottom of your petrol tank. If you drive on an empty tank, you will be driving on fumes, which get sucked into your engine. A good car tip to follow is to fill up your car when it gets around 1/4 of the tank. According to car experts, driving around while on empty, or even close to empty, is never a good idea. This is because the fuel gauge isn't always accurate, and driving around on an empty tank can cause damage to your car's catalytic converter. Gas also acts as a coolant for the electric fuel pump motor. When you are driving a car on very low gas, the pump sucks in the air, which can create heat and damage to the fuel pump. These are costly repairs, which could cost you a few $100s. So unless you think it's worth paying a few $100s for repairs, we suggest getting gas as soon as your car reaches a 1/4 tank. Car rule number 2. The off engine button. If you have an older car, you may not know what I'm talking about. Newer cars have off engine buttons which automatically turn a car off. To turn off a car, all a person has to do is push the button. Cool, right? It sure is. But auto mechanics advise that you should never press the off engine button while driving. However, if you are driving at a reasonable speed and happen to do it, nothing bad will happen. That being said, cars are designed these days to prepare for slight mishaps like this. In the event that you press the off engine button while driving, your car likely won't stop. If you're driving at an extremely slow speed, like 5 miles an hour for example, your car will probably turn off. But if you're driving at high speeds, your car will have a built-in function or feature that doesn't allow it to stop in the event that you accidentally press the button. So don't panic if you accidentally hit the off engine button while cruising on the highway. Car rule number 1. Oil changes. Follow your manufacturer's specifications on how often you should change your car's oil. This applies especially to brand new cars. Some manufacturers use thin oil when the cars leave the factory, and this oil has to be changed around 1,000 kilometers in. Another oil change rule you should follow is to never miss an oil change. Skipping out on an oil change and running your car without any oil will cause the engine to fail, resulting in some pretty bad car damage that you will regret. Auto mechanics recommend changing your oil at least every 3,000 miles or 3 months. Although most cars can travel at least 5,000 miles before needing an oil change. Newer cars have many safety features that ensure that the car runs smoothly and that you arrive at your destination without any trouble. This includes features like blocking the conflicting commands, as well as warning the driver about potential issues. These days, new cars come with Bluetooth, built-in rearview mirrors, and more. Believe it or not, some cars even come with Wi-Fi. Talk about technology, right? That being said, despite all the new advancements in technology and the drastic improvements which have been made to cars over the past decade, there are still all sorts of things that people do to their cars they don't know may be damaging them. And considering how expensive cars are these days, you would think that people would be more aware of what to do and what not to do with their cars, right? Well, not everyone is an auto mechanic. In fact, most people don't actually really know much about how their cars work. There are lots of things that people should never even consider doing to their cars. While some things are common sense, like always making sure to put your car in park when you're getting out of your car, there are some other things that might not be so common sense for those of us who know next to nothing about how cars work and function. There are all sorts of things that can happen if you don't take care of your car, from engine issues to transmission issues and even potentially dangerous accidents. Owning a vehicle isn't as easy as getting a license and buying a car. There are certain responsibilities involved with driving a car, which is why you should always pay attention to even the slightest problems in your vehicle when you're driving. There are some obvious and simple things people should never do with their cars, like never selecting reverse while driving. Most modern cars will ignore the reverse command, but it is not a good idea. That's just common sense, right? Another common sense car tip you should avoid doing is attaching too many keys to the same keychain as the ignition key. It will weigh down the key and might damage your ignition switch over time. We're all probably guilty of attaching all sorts of useless things to our keychains, but try to avoid doing it. While those things may seem like common sense, you would be surprised by how many people don't know even the simplest things about cars. That's why you should always ask a professional for help whenever you need an answer to any of your car questions. Before purchasing a car, you should always make sure to know what you're buying. If you're buying a used car, make sure that you get it checked out by a trusted auto mechanic first to make sure you are not buying something that is damaged or can put you at risk. A car is a big purchase, and it is extremely important to know what you are buying before you make the purchase. And finally, always be safe on the road. Pay attention, stay safe, and enjoy the ride. What are some other things that you think people should never do to their cars? Let us know by commenting below. Enjoyed this video? Hit like, share, and subscribe to What the Facts. Wait, why don't you fact off with these other awesome videos? Go ahead. Choose the left or the right video and enjoy.